I don't know if you got audiences here that are single ladies. Shanghai is the place that you got the best husbands in China. These are the people who will cook for you, who will wash for you, who will clean up the house for you.
Is it?
Yes, it's Shanghainese men. They're one of the best. So we got a salesperson who's a Shanghainese husband, right?
CJ, how long have you been in China?
I was originally from Singapore, but I've lived in China for 16 years from 2004 to 2020. And basically what I do is to help companies to improve their sales, their profits, their business performance through their people.
You have also authored a book.
Winning the B2B Sale in China.
Okay, that's great.
Yep.
What inspired you to write this book and what can readers get out of it?
Okay, since we do sales training, so there'll be a lot of methodologies, how to do this, how to do that. So it's part of the book. But the fun part about the book is it's the stories, the things that either I've been through myself or I've heard salespeople telling their stories selling, right? So one of the stories was we got this salesperson from Shanghai, and this is a company that sells steel products. So not really heavy industry, but related. And in those kind of industry, it is a norm to do a lot of entertainment, right? And by entertainment, they usually go to very suspicious and sometimes seedy KTV for whatever they want to do, right? So that's a norm in the industry, but you have a salesperson who is a Shanghainese guy and husband and father and all that. So he doesn't really want to go into those kind of entertainment. But the problem is the customer is really into those kind of entertainment. And he still made a sale because the company he's representing is an Austrian company. So they got really high quality products, really good products. They got really good technical support. The customer will still buy from that salesperson because the products are really good and the support was really good. So we had a conversation and was doing coaching for the salesperson. And eventually we find that there are certain things that a salesperson does not want and does not like to do. And there are certain things that a customer likes to do, they don't mix well. So we decided that why not, since you are not in the scene, why not you have a chat with the customer to let the customer tell you what was his latest adventures in all these places. No, you're not part of the scene, but there's no harm in getting the customer to tell you what he has done, to brag about. And that's what the salesperson did. Okay, so we went to the customer. He asked the customer, oh, so how's your Saturday night? And then for that particular customer, the customer started to get into the mood. I was like, oh, you don't know what you miss. This is what I did last Saturday. And brag about all his exploits. So that continued for about a few sessions. So every time they start a conversation, so what happened last weekend, right? And after a few conversations, it turns out that the reason the customer was so much into those seedy places was he's a lonely guy, right? He was divorced with a son that is under his charge, and the son is not really that obedient or is not doing well in school and is creating a lot of troubles. So he's got his own internal demons. And part of how he wants to process all these negative feelings, and part of it is also being the typical Chinese boss, that he's not able to confide in his employees, say, being a boss is not so nice. So he doesn't feel like confiding with anyone. So the only way that he can find solace, find some way of an outlet, is to go to all these places where he felt like he's the king, because he's spending money for the KTVs and spending money to entertain. No, usually it's the salespeople that entertain the customer. He'll pay for the salespeople as well. Spending money for his partners just so that his ego is being massaged. It's a sad thing. This customer actually cried. And that relationship evolved to the extent where, the customer felt that this salesperson is really interested and caring about his well-being. So he views that salesperson quite differently. Because, you see, the thing about sales, if you look at it in a very commercial sense, is the purpose of sales or salespeople is to make money.
Yes.
and make money from the customer. And the fear of the customer is the salesperson will try to sell something to me, get my money, and run away and never to be found. That's the biggest fear of customers. So for this particular customer, what he found is that this salesperson is different.
Yes.
They want to take the money, but he's showing that he's got my well-being in mind. Like maybe not 100%, but a significant amount of his mind is my well-being.
Yes.
And because of that, I am willing to take a chance to share more information or even bounce ideas off this salesperson.
Right.
And I have enough confidence that this salesperson will not go around to tell my competitors. No, because the salesperson will sell to other people of the same industry. So it requires a lot of trust between the buyer and seller to go to the level. Yeah.
Yes. It's more of a trust building, relationship building.
Yes.
So how do you train those employees to build trust and build relationship?
It starts from the company culture. It starts from the top. So if the top is very short-sighted, as in I just want my month-end number, I just want my quarterly numbers,
right?
Then the only thing in the salesperson's mind is to go to the customer, get whatever sale I can make today, and forget about what I can make in 3 months or next year.
Right.
Right? Because if I don't make the numbers today, I may not survive long enough in that company to talk about long-term sale.
Yes.
So it really...
transactional sales.
Yeah, it's very transactional. Customers these days know it.
Yes.
Right? And they are very wary about transactional salespeople.
Right.
And even if you are able to sell to this customer once, and the customers find that, no, I'm actually buying something that I don't need and don't want, and I'm being scammed, there will be no next time. So it really starts at the top. And we are working with a tech company, a large listed American tech company. Now, a lot of things in technology.
Yes.
In the old days, people are selling hardware. And what they found is hardware these days, the margins are getting very low, and all the money, all the margins in the software are in services. So what they did was to package the hardware with the software with services, and not only package it together, but also they don't now sell anything. They rent. They go by subscription mode. So whatever you want to buy, you need to let a salesperson know that how many people are using, what modules you're using, for what purposes, and then they will be billed on a either monthly or yearly basis based on what is your need and how many people are using it. Now, the problem with that is there are salespeople, because they've been pushing all the hardware sales all these years. The salespeople and the entire sales organization are still very short-term focused. They're just looking at this quarter's figures. And in fact, because it's a listed company, so Wall Street is also looking at quarterly numbers only. They're not looking at a long term. So they're now going through some challenges to try to tweak the culture a bit. They cannot totally change the culture because they are still answerable to Wall Street. At some point, they need to meet certain expectations set by Wall Street. But at the same time, they know that if we don't look at things on a longer term, because it's now a subscription model. So if you oversell things, the customer says, you know what, we don't need that much.
Yes.
Either we don't subscribe next year, or we cut down on a lot of things that we are subscribing because we don't need all of those. So it's going to have a huge impact on the business in the following years. And they do see some of their key accounts having their business falling off a cliff. And again, it's not because the products are bad or any service is bad. It's just that the way they sell is not aligned with the new way of selling. I would say that it's not an easy process, but for the company, for whatever challenges that they face, they are trying to cope the best way they can to make sure that they see things on a longer term view.
Okay. So why do companies require you? So what do you basically do there?
We do sales coaching. We do sales team coaching for the whole team. We do sales workshops, whether it's selling skills, key account management, or negotiation skills, and so on.
Okay.
We customize things. We customize cases based on the real life
Real
situations.
life. So what are the things you do for real life experience?
What we want to do is to create scenarios that is relevant, that they know has happened either to themselves or to a colleague that they know. So these are cases that are, it's based on scenarios, based on cases that are rather famous or well known in their companies. So we interview the managers, some key participants, and get them to tell us some interesting stories that they have faced. What could be better ways of handling those situations? Eventually, whether it works or not, everybody plays a part in co-creating solutions to try to solve those issues.
I'm a salesperson.
Right.
You train me.
Right.
And after that, I'm facing some problems.
Sure.
So what kind of problem they face and how do you help them?
So one case that we had that we recently came across was, we say that when we handle objections, we ask the customer, which is more important, do you want a lower price or you want a better quality? And we get a customer to prioritize. The customer will say, I want to have both, better quality and lower price, right? So we do have cases where a salesperson came back, similar situation, and the customer says, no, we want the best quality and we want a lowest price. We will just go for that. They're holding off their buying, and the salesperson is a bit anxious about losing that customer. Right. Now, assuming that a customer wants to have a certain high level quality and a very low price, now, and you are not able to meet that price.
Right.
Now, who else in the market is willing to do that or is able to do that? Exactly. So it's not just a lower price, because there'll be a lot of low price provider because they are not able to reach that kind of quality. It's not about do better than you, but to meet the customer very challenging requirements. So certain special quality and a ridiculously low price. Is there anybody else who is able to do that? And found that there isn't. There are people who can do it at a lower price, but not as good a quality. And if people who are doing that kind of level of quality, the prices are going to be similar. Maybe there are some small differences, but it's going to be similar price range.
So how to negotiate in this case?
Just open up to the customer and says, you have very high requirements. Who else in the market is able to meet your requirements?
So directly convey to the customer.
Just convey to the customer. If you want to have that kind of price, you don't get that kind of quality. You want to have that kind of quality, the price is going to be higher. We are definitely open for discussion, negotiation on prices, but definitely not the kind of price that you want. Right. And if there are people who, for whatever reasons, really drop to that level you want, they are probably going to make some losses or near loss. Right. Just wait for that time where you meet things at your price. Right. Okay, this is the quality I want. This is the price I'm asking for. Right. And if I can't get the price I want, they are slowly upping the price. So it's like a kind of reverse auction where they set a low price, no takers. They add a bid and wait for a response. Still no takers. They'll add a bid. So that's the negotiation tactic. And the thing about that is, yes, the customer can do that. They'll eventually find a kind of optimal place where you get the best price with the best quality. And it may be us, it may be someone else, we don't know, but they'll reach it. But what about the time cost? It's all about when are you going to walk away. If the deal does not make sense, you are not making the kind of profit levels that you want or your bosses want. Yes. It just will not go. And if you know that for this customer, they're asking for the impossible, the things that you are not going to give in, you might as well just walk away from that customer and work on other customers instead. Yes. Right. And waste of time. It's a waste of time. You are only given a short period of time to finish, to reach some kind of sales targets. Yes. And for this customer, it may seem so close, but it really is so close and yet so far. And if you're not able to bridge the gap, it's better to cut your losses and just go for other customers. If you're really lucky, that customer may come back to you because they couldn't find someone else. So eventually they may come back to you. So you're lucky. If you're not, just go ahead and find other customers. And this is in a context where you know that the price that they are asking for is not a price that you can agree with. Right. Yeah. And you teach them the time management. Time is important because you can find other customers as well. One of the key things is in sales is And something that is underrated and under-mentioned is that we need to qualify customers. We need to know whether a customer is a higher priority or a lower priority. We need to reprioritize customers as we move along the sale. So let's say if I'm on a cold call, I'm just looking for all new customers. They don't know me, I don't know them. And I approach them. I talk to a customer and say that, no, we have some case studies. We have achieved certain results for other companies in your industries, and we'd just like to share our experiences. And we just want to find out if we are able to help you reach the kind of similar results as well. And if the customer says, yeah, sure, we'd like to find out more, then we know that the customer is somehow interested. If the customer is really standoffish and the first thing they say is how much, the challenge with price, we know that probably we will put them down in a lower priority. We will prioritize the ones that are more serious and are wanting to have a more in-depth discussion with us. So that's the beginning of the sales cycle. Now, as we move along, we also need to find out who are the ones that we still want to follow through.
Yes.
Like the case we mentioned just now is the customer loves everything that we do, but they're asking for a price that we are not able to give. Now, that if that is going to be a deal breaker,
right,
you need to prioritize different customers as you move along. And as salespeople, you got to be very much aware of that. A lot of times, salespeople tend to be too attached because they have been working with that customer for the past 3 months, 6 months, or even longer. They really feel that they're so close to the sale, but it's not entirely within the control of the salesperson. It's not even entirely in control of management even.
Yes.
The business has to make money.
So any advice you want to give to the management and salesperson to wrap up? Because we are going to wrap up now. So any advice?
I would say is that for managers, listen more to the stories that the salespeople are telling.
Yes.
Knowing that sometimes some salespeople will tell very outlandish stories, but managers with the experience can tell the difference whether the story is like an excuse for not doing their job, or it's a clear issue of they really face with serious customer issue, and how you can, together with the salesperson, work towards resolving those issues.
Right.
The success of a sale is not about what you do at the end of the sales cycle. It's about what you have been doing way before, all the way to the end.
Exactly.
And sometimes if you don't what I call uncover the right pain points, uncover who are the real decision makers and who are the real influencers in the customer's organizations, towards the end of a sales cycle, there's nothing much you can do because you want to close the sale, but because you haven't been doing the right things in the beginning.
So it's not a simple sale.
It's not a simple sale.
Anything else?
Let's just say family business, right? Yeah. You're selling whatever you're selling to a family business. If you take a step back, in the family business, the boss is the boss. Who is the finance manager? The
wife, exactly.
Right? And who is the purchasing manager?
Brother-in-law.
The wife's brother, right? Even for a simple family-owned business where the boss is supposed to be the boss,
yes,
it's not as simple as that. Salespeople, you probably will need to understand who's influencing which part of the sale, and then try to make it work for you.
Yes, you made us wise today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.